Scotland, the majestic Highlands, the beautiful land of the Thistle, a place of ancient knowledge and a heartfelt history of Bobby Burns, William Wallace, Robert the Bruce, the Pictish kingdom, Hadrian's wall, and a people who refuse to budge even in the face of the Roman Empire. Scotland is an awesome place, and it serves only to be complimented by its most intriguing paranormal mystery, the Loch Ness Monster, Nessie, a tall tale of folklore that has captivated the hearts and minds of an entire planet for hundreds of years. But since we're in the midst of draining oceans, Bermuda triangles and Mariana trenches, let's see what we can do with Loch Ness. Hello internet, what's going on, and once again welcome back to the most inquisitive channel on YouTube, Life's Biggest Questions. As per usual, I'll be your listening multi floated voice Jack Finch, as today we curiously ask the question, what if we drained Loch Ness? Roll the clip. For the curious amongst you, that clip was from the aptly named 1996 movie Loch Ness, starring the one and only Ted Danson as an anthropologist that magically and mysteriously stumbles upon the underside of Loch Ness to find a long lost cavern that may or may not be home of the Loch Ness Monster. Hey, I'm not in the business for spoiling a 90s classic, so watch it yourself. Before we jump into this video though, we should probably paint a picture of the beautiful landscape of Loch Ness itself, as well as the rich and ancient history that surrounds it, in order to give ourselves a better idea as to just what may be lurking beneath its depths. And put it this way, Nessie aside, there may be some pretty incredible things at the bottom of its murky waters. And yeah, don't worry, there won't be any tree fiddy jokes throughout this particular LBQ, because bait and switch aside, Loch Ness is serious enough business. By far, Loch Ness is the second largest Scottish loch by a surface area of 22 square miles, coming in just behind Loch Lomond, situated across the Highland boundary fault. However, thanks to its absolutely massive depths, Loch Ness is by far the largest body of water by volume in the entire British Isles. Its deepest point is 230 metres, which also makes it the second deepest loch in Scotland, just behind Loch Morar. You know what they say, right? First the worst, second the best. Yeah, something like that. Even more amazingly, Loch Ness contains more fresh water than all of the lakes in England, Wales and Scotland combined. That's deep, right? Super, super deep, and the main reason attributed by believers of the Loch Ness Monster as to why good old Nessie hasn't yet reared its mysterious head. But let's say in this hypothetical scenario, some of those cryptid believers that have since dedicated their lives to roaming the loch in pursuit of the great beast pulled their resources together and decided to drain the whole loch of its water to find out once and for all where Nessie is, which would spell all manners of ecological catastrophes and be all kinds of really bad things if it ever happened. But we'll get to that after the pumps have finished draining. Whilst we're waiting for that to happen though, let's see where this whole Loch Ness Monster myth came from, and whether in fact there's actually anything to it. You may be slightly astonished that the myth of Nessie actually dates back all the way to the year 565 AD. In fact, the earliest report of a monster in the vicinity of Loch Ness appears in the 6th century document, The Life of St. Columba, written by St. Adomnan, detailing the life of the Irish monk St. Columba, who at the time was staying in the land of the Picts with his travelling companions when he witnessed a group of local residents burying a man by the River Ness, a nearby estuary that flows from the northern end of the loch. The group explained to St. Columba that the man had been swimming in the river, where he was attacked by a ferocious water beast which mauled him and dragged him deep underwater. Allegedly, the group tried to rescue him by boat, but by the time they'd reached the loch, he was dead. As the legend goes, the group were then later attacked by the same beast, but according to Adomnan, St. Columba had made the sign of the cross and declared, "Go no further, go back at once." And with that, the creature was flung back into the murky depths of Loch Ness and fled. Now, obviously, there may be a few creative liberties taken with this particular tale, as it seems the Loch Ness Monster may also be a demon, but hey, what's the worst that could happen? Well, obviously, the worst that could have happened in this case was the creation of a cryptozoological enigma that has driven people insane for nearly 1500 years trying to crack the mystery of Nessie, which in this hypothetical situation has driven people to the point where they're draining the damn Loch Ness. So, how would they do it? Thankfully for us, the good people of the internet have already done the math to varying degrees of accuracy, so shout out to Dennis Oakley and Thomas Cartwright for the number crunching done. The volume of water in Loch Ness is 7.5 kilometers cubed in the lake itself, with a surrounding catchment area of around 1500 kilometers squared. The most efficient process would be to dam both ends of the loch, the parts that seep out to the further River Ness and Glenmore, and then start pumping. And this is where the real commitment to the cause comes into question, and what kind of budget we'd have to drain Loch Ness Ness with. The world's largest pump, which costs around $500 million US, can pump 150,000 gallons per second, and at that phenomenal rate, it would take just 180 days to drain Loch Ness completely. Which, you know, is still half a year, and also isn't taking into account the massive amounts of peat and silt in the lake, which would more than likely destroy the pump pretty quickly, and I'm pretty sure it cost a pretty penny to fix a $500 million pump, but nevertheless. On the flip side, if you're pretty stumped for cash, you can forget all about the $500 million pump and instead go for the cheaper option. If you take the largest portable drainage pump on the market, which works at around 10,000 meters cubed per hour, it would take around 83.3 years to drain Loch Ness entirely. But as they say, many hands make light work, so if you grabbed yourself around 20 of those pumps and positioned them around Loch Ness, it'd take just over 4 years to get the job done. Great stuff! And where's all that water going to go? Well, don't worry about that. That's someone else's problem, isn't it? We've got Nessie to find. I mean, with all that water gone, you'd have a cavernous area to explore that spans 22 square miles, and even if Nessie was alive and kicking, she'd be pretty perturbed at the fact that you just destroyed her home to find her. Whilst you'd likely find dozens and dozens of lost boats that had been submerged over the years, you'd also find the Loch Ness Monster prop from the 1969 Sherlock Holmes film, starring Sir Robert Stevens and Sir Christopher Lee, which is pretty awesome. And you'd also definitely find the wooden submarine toy that made up the surgeon's photograph of 1934 that many claimed to be Nessie, but was later debunked as a hoax. Also, bodies of water have a pretty historical habit of hiding ancient artifacts and relics, and with the vast horde of Pictish and Celtic tribes that populated the Highlands of Scotland, then archaeologists and treasure hunters alike would flock to Loch Ness in pursuit of potential riches untold. But what if we didn't find anything? What if we just drained Loch Ness, destroying the habitats of countless flora and fauna native to the Scottish Highlands, and just walked away? Would it be worth it, just to find out if Nessie really did exist? I'm not so sure. What would it take for us to realise we'd just gone too far? What would be the cost? Well, about tree fitting. There we have it, our elaborate answer to the question, what if we drain Loch Ness? What do you guys think? Do you agree, disagree? Have any more to add? Then why don't you let us know your thoughts down in the comment section below. Before we depart from today's video though, let's first take a quick look at some of your more creative comments from over the past few days. First up, in response to our recent what if we became a multi-planet species video, Kieran Bill says, it would be really cool to be a multi-planet species. Imagine meeting a girl in a bar and asking, what planet you from? And such. We could also have cities on the moons of planets. Hell yeah, Kieran, that'd be dope. Hey, do you come here often? No, it took me 17 light years to get here. I'm so tired. Well, on that note, unfortunately, that's all we've got time for in today's video. Just stick around all the way until the end. If you were a fan of this video or just Life's Biggest Questions in general, then please be a dear and hit that thumbs up button, as well as that subscribe button, and I'll be seeing you in the next one. As per usual, I've been your disembodied flow voice, Jack Finch. You've been watching Life's Biggest Questions, and until next time, you take it easy.